Sometimes out of tragedy, you can find triumph. We can all agree it's been a challenging year, but we have also started to see the beginning of true culture shifts. As Oprah Winfrey said, a new day is on the horizon. We at Culture Shift Labs thrive on making change. As a diversity and innovation consultancy, we provide services under 3 pillars: advising, strategy, and activation. We help our clients to initiate, accelerate, and succeed at their intentions. Culture Shifting Weekends, our annual signature event in New York and Silicon Valley, have been at the forefront of that new day on the horizon for the last several years. Our mission is to enable deals and collaboration among attendees, and each year we achieve just that. From people receiving board and C-suite offers to entrepreneurs and venture investors of color getting checks. Let us recommit to being enablers of each other's success and wealth creation, and to continue showing up with an abundance mindset and generosity behavior. After all, you have been hand-selected to be here to help continue culture shifting. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Denmark West, partner at Connectivity Ventures.
You know, I'm excited right now for our pitch process as well as our Fireside Chat. Now, Andrew is going to announce the Fireside Chat, so I just want to spend a second talking about this pitch process and why it's so exciting to me. First of all, we've been doing this for several years now, and every year it seems like it gets better. Not only do we seem like we have more engagement, it seems like we have more and more entrepreneurs of higher and higher caliber that show up. This year is no different. The reason why that's important is because entrepreneurship is not only the lifeblood of our economy, but entrepreneurship, just as a philosophy, an approach, and a way of being, is actually one of the foundational elements of our society. So when we think about that for our community, supporting entrepreneurs and supporting entrepreneurship, especially among our community, becomes increasingly important as we think about how to connect the dots in an era where we're focused on, jobs and wealth creation. This becomes one of the clearer paths, which is why it's so important to connect the dots between investors and entrepreneurs, or funders and founders in settings like this. In the past, we've been able to help facilitate those interactions. What we're hoping is that, in spite of the fact that we're virtual, we'll still be able to do more of that today. And to introduce our Fireside Chat, which I'm super excited to see, the big boss, the fiery red hat, the tan panther, our favorite leprechaun, Andrea Hoffman.
Thank you, Denmark. Financial inclusion, economic inclusion, wealth creation, that's what we're about. Every year, Denmark's right, it gets better and better, and we have more and more outcomes. This year is going to be no different. Social distancing, shelter in place, nothing is going to stop our ability to drive checks in the hands of Black and Latinx entrepreneurs. We're excited for you to meet them today. But first, to kick it off, we have the incredible, the iconic, the legendary Ken Coleman in a fireside chat, leading the chat with the incredible advocate for diversity and inclusion, Ben Horowitz. Please help us welcome our fireside chat guests.
Good afternoon. I'd like to introduce you to my longtime friend, Ben Horowitz, who is a co-founder of Andreessen Horowitz, one of the premier venture capital firms in Silicon Valley. Ben, do you remember how we met?
I do remember how we met. Yeah, I was a kid at the time. I think I was 20 years old. My father somehow got a connection to Ed McCracken, who was the CEO of Silicon Graphics. And Ed McCracken, of course, wasn't going to deal with somebody looking for a summer internship. So he kicked me to Ken. And for whatever reason, Ken actually called me, which was a generous thing of him to do at the time, given the size of his organization. And kind of long story short, I got the job, and then Ken has been essentially my mentor for the last 35 years.
So Ben, you've always had this entrepreneurial spirit. Where did it come from?
That's a great question. I think, because I came from a family that was sort of politically oriented, much more than business oriented. But like one of the things that probably kind of rang true, at least kind of culturally, and how I grew up, was like, you have to think for yourself. You have to have your own ideas. And that kind of goes very well with entrepreneurship, because to be an entrepreneur, you have to believe you're right, at least. You have to really believe in your own thinking and your own ideas, because if you're looking for somebody to give you the answer, you have no chance in that field. And so kind of coming from that world where, like, okay, rethink everything from first principles, I think that kind of had me in the mode of that, and then, kind of made me feel like I wanted to do something. But, a big part of it was my experience at Silicon Graphics. I just thought that, that was an environment I had never even dreamed was possible. Just the number of like incredibly smart people, how hard they work, the things that were getting created. I just thought that was the best thing ever, create something like that out of nothing.
And your partner in Andreessen Horowitz, you met earlier and you worked together before. Can you talk a little bit about the relationship with you and Mark Andreessen?
Yeah, it's a funny relationship. So we met at a company called Netscape, which could have been considered like a Silicon Graphics spinoff. And Mark was the founder, and I got a job there as a product manager. He actually interviewed me. I don't think he remembers the interview that well, but I remember it very well. And I thought he was, an amazingly kind of insightful 22-year-old at the time. And, we started working together there. And, kind of my first like real incident with him came when we had, Microsoft was putting tremendous pressure on us. I was running a project called the web server, and our web server cost, I think it was $1,200 for the insecure version and $5,000 for the one with security. And Microsoft was coming out with their web server, and we got our hands on it, and it was 10 times faster and free. And so we were in a lot of trouble. So we spent months and months kind of building up this suite to take on back office, and it was our big kind of comeback, against Microsoft's existential threat to us. And we were supposed to launch the thing, I think, on the 1st of March, and then on 2 weeks before then, Mark leaked the whole thing to Computer Reseller News, which wasn't, not the Wall Street Journal, Computer Reseller News. And so I sent him a note. I said, I guess, I was really mad. I said, I guess we're not going to wait for the launch. And he sent me back a super profane note copying, my boss and the CEO and everybody else, saying that, server product marketing, which was me, was causing the whole company to fail. And that was kind of our first like big interaction. I was pretty sure I was gonna get fired and all that kind of thing, but we figured it out, and yeah, we've been working together now 25 years.
So you then started a company called Loud Cloud at the time, I believe.
Yeah.
And what did you learn about entrepreneurship from the Loud Cloud experience that serves you well today?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I wrote a whole book on this, and that's probably the thing that I'm best known for was that experience. Look, everything went wrong. And probably the biggest thing I learned is as everything was going wrong. So it was through the dot-com crash and, nearly going bankrupt and going public with, $2 million in trailing 12-month revenue and all those kinds of things. But the thing that, at the time that was so striking for me was, as I was feeling like I must be the worst CEO in the world because everything is going wrong and the company's melting down and so forth, I would talk to my friends who were also entrepreneurs and I would ask them how it was going with their business. They would, it's fantastic. It's amazing. It's the greatest experience. And I'm like, wow, I must be like so effing stupid that like my business is so bad. But of course they were all lying to me and they all went bankrupt. And so, what it taught me was like, one, everybody's company gets very screwed up when you try building a company is super hard and nobody does it cleanly. And that feeling though, you're definitely not the only one, even though nobody will talk to you about it. And so that's been a huge help for me as kind of a venture capitalist, is just understanding what the process is and understanding what it means to build a company and how incompetent as a inventor founder you are going to be for a long time. It takes years to learn how to be a CEO and lots of mistakes. And a lot of what makes entrepreneurs succeed is kind of fighting through that feeling and continuing to improve, because it's no fun to suck at your job. And it's even less fun if that job has a whole company of people depending on you to be like good at it.
And so that was the kind of the message in the hard thing about hard things book. But if there's one or two takeaways that you want to give to the audience about that book, what is the one or two messages in your book?
I think my favorite message from that book is, look, it's going to be a struggle. And my grandfather was a communist, and on his grave he had this quote from Marx, which was, "Life is struggle." And I think that's entrepreneurship. That's what it is. And so you have to embrace it. You can't run from it. It's going to be super hard. It's going to be really, really difficult building. It always looks easy from the outside, and people, launch all kinds of crazy criticism about you once you succeed, if you succeed. But if you go back and any of these companies really, really, really struggle to make it. And if you don't run at that, if you run away from it, you're never going to make it because it's going to be there.
Okay. And then after being an entrepreneur, you decided to be a venture capitalist.
Yeah.
And you had a little different, I talked to you a number of times about this as you were starting, and you had a little bit of a different approach than most people had in the business. Can you talk a little bit about your thinking, you and Mark's thinking about that?
Yeah. No, it's funny because, at the time we spoke to a lot of VCs about it and they all thought it was a terrible idea, which my experience as an entrepreneur let me know I was on the right track then. Because if an idea is actually innovative, everybody thinks it's a bad idea. So if you have an idea for a business and everybody says that's a great idea, don't do it because it's not actually a breakthrough. It's too obvious. But our idea was basically this, that, the most successful companies in tech over the years have been run by their founders for a very long time, from IBM to Hewlett Packard, to Microsoft, to Oracle, to more recently things like Google or Facebook or Amazon. But venture capital was really not set up to help the inventor become the CEO. It was set up to replace the inventor with a professional CEO. And they really had nothing to kind of help you get through that journey, which was an incredibly difficult journey. And so we had the idea, it's like, well, what, if there was such a venture capital firm, what would it look like? And there were really two core elements to it. One was the network. So we felt like, and this is, one thing I learned from Ken, that, a huge gap between an inventor and a kind of professional, somebody who's done the CEO job before, is their network, who they know, executives you can hire, people who have capital that you can raise from, people in the press who you can get your story out to. All these things big customers that you can go talk to. You don't have any of that as an inventor. And building that network is just something that, it takes time. Nobody can build a network fast. So the first element that we did is we said, well, what if the firm basically systematized and professionalized and built a gigantic network under a kind of brand that all the CEOs in the portfolio could make use of. And so that, was kind of the big operating change that we had. And, today we have 180 people in the firm, which is, I'm sure we're the biggest kind of venture capital firm in terms of headcount, even though we're relatively young, because we have this immense network that we kind of have funded over the years. And then the second part was just skill sets. So, nobody can give you the CEO skill set, but if you have somebody who understands what it is, they can help you kind of attain it faster. And so all of the kind of original general partners were, people had experience being CEO and had some insight into that. And that was quite frankly why I wrote the book, because it was kind of like, wow, this is a big skill set. I kind of need to write this all down and put it out there. I didn't, it was funny because I wrote the book just for our portfolio, but it turned out to be much bigger, which is my biggest lesson in writing, I think, is write for the narrowest audience possible if you want to get to a broad audience. Because if you try and broaden the topics, it just gets too watered down and nobody can do anything with it.
So I was talking to you recently, and you mentioned that you thought the firm had improved over the years and it was stronger than ever. Can you give me a little insight to that?
Yeah, so, and we started off, not really knowing much about investing, I have to say. I mean, neither Mark nor I had ever been a professional investor when we started the firm. And, our original idea was kind of, I would say, partially very correct, which was we thought that with this differentiated offering, we would attract the best entrepreneurs and we could be very competitive at winning deals early, which is fundamentally important in venture capital because, look, not everybody gets access to all the deals. There are like 4 or 5 firms that have access to all the best deals and everybody else has to get what they can. And so getting into that top tier was critical. And so the firm differentiation idea really worked. But the other part of it is, okay, then once the deals come to you, like how good are you at picking them? And, look, for the first fund, Mark and I just sort of, whatever deal was the hot deal, we just said, okay, we'll just go win it. And that actually worked pretty good for the first fund. But as we expanded the general partners, like not everybody was me and Mark, and not everybody could win all those deals and so forth. And so, we kind of needed to get good at picking deals and having kind of stronger investment thesis and all these kinds of things. And so, I feel like in the last couple of years, we've really achieved that to a great degree.
Ben, you've noted in the industry to have a serious commitment for founders of color and underrepresented groups. Why?
Well, look, I mean, it's a lot of it comes from, something that I believe in, which is there's real talent out there that I think, I felt like a lot of other firms couldn't necessarily see. And if we could see it, then we could take advantage. And, we certainly have in kind of both with our own personnel and with our portfolio. We have, I think Chris Lyons is probably considered the single best relationship guy in all of venture capital now. And, we got him just because we, we could see him, even though he's in a different industry, he's, ended up being really, really great for us.
And you've talked often about the Black American impact on culture.
Yeah.
And that presented an opportunity. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, and, we're expanding our thinking on that. So the first opportunity that, that I thought was very, very clear and has paid off amazingly for us, by the way, and I'll get into that. It was, look, when I started Silicon Graphics, like tech companies didn't sell to consumers for the most part. Like, we didn't sell those workstations to consumers. Those were sold to businesses, and most of products were sold to businesses. So the whole idea of consumer behavior and technology wasn't something that you really had to put together or be great at. But that all changed in the mid-2000s. And when you talk about, okay, how do you move consumer behavior, which is, maybe the kind of single most difficult idea in entrepreneurship, African Americans have just this really, really long history of being able to do that through, multiple genres of music that were invented, jazz, blues, rock and roll, hip hop, all invented by African Americans, all move culture, the associated fashion, dance, et cetera, all kind of coming from one group. So there just seemed like a great opportunity to create a partnership between kind of cultural leaders and tech leaders. And so that was the Cultural Leadership Fund. And it's been really amazing because you have, guys like Quincy Jones who speak 22 languages, but nobody here, if they just bumped into him on the street and didn't know who he was, would know that he was, as much of a genius as Mark Zuckerberg for sure, but just in a completely different package with a completely different way of thinking. And so we've been able to educate our entrepreneurs, by making those introductions on those things. And then it's helped us in that, we have a new investment, for example, in a company called Clubhouse, and that network has been amazing. We just did Felicia's got a show she just hosted with on the future of food with all these biotech entrepreneurs, plus KRS-One, who did the original kind of rap song on being a vegetarian called Beef. And you kind of can put those two together, and you have a guy who knows how to move the culture very far with, a scientist who can invent a new thing. And that's kind of the whole manifestation of the Cultural Leadership Fund. I think there's an even bigger idea, which we just started a new fund called the TXO Fund. And the idea behind that is, like, if you look at venture capital in Silicon Valley is really, really good at funding technology ideas. And that's made it a tremendous business because technology is one of two things that the United States dominates in globally. Technology is one. I mean, China's the only real competitor, but America's super strong in technology. The other thing that we export and dominate even more than technology is culture. But like, what is the funding model for cultural ideas? And if you go back to kind of hip hop, which is a giant, like if you look at the full reach of hip hop from, everything it influences to, every product people buy, fashion, luxury items, music, et cetera, it's certainly as big as Amazon or anything in tech, but the original entrepreneurs of that genre, P. Diddy, Andre Harrell, Russell Simmons, they owned the original companies. They owned Def Jam and Uptown Records and Bad Boy Records, but they didn't retain ownership. And they didn't retain ownership of the ideas as it grew. And so the idea of the TXO Fund is, okay, can we fund cultural entrepreneurs and give them not only, like, the capital, I think, is a small part, but the bigger part is the network, the knowledge of how to go global, the knowledge of kind of complex financing and how to go through the layers of capital.
So Ben, you mentioned culture, and you just wrote a book on culture.
Yes.
If you take your book, and what are the 2 or 3 big ideas in that book, the big takeaways that you would want readers of that book, especially entrepreneurs of the book, to take away?
Well, so right now, as you kind of mentioned, COVID, I think the biggest thing in this work from home model that's a real challenge is trust. Because, building trust over Zoom with new employees or into the culture is really a challenge. And probably one of my first lessons in kind of management was from you, Ken, where you always talked about the importance of communication. And as you become bigger as an organization, that becomes your number one challenge, like forever, not just like for the day or the week, but like that's going to be the thing that, you're going to have to solve as a manager. And the foundation of communication, of course, is trust, because, if I trust you completely, you don't even have to talk to me because I know you're acting in my best interest. And if I don't trust you at all, you can talk to me all day and I'm not going to listen to words you say because I don't trust you. And so, in this time when trust is much more complicated to build, I think, putting the emphasis on how you do that remotely and over Zoom, and the one-on-one conversations that you have with people, and how you kind of can establish that your word is good and that what you're doing is fair, is really, really important. And I've seen, a lot of entrepreneurs run into this problem recently. I'd say, the second thing, which I think is a real opportunity right now is, one way you can set the culture is through stories. So like, what is the story of the culture of the organization? And because, everybody's having all hands every week now, because it's, a way to kind of get the company together and so forth. A real opportunity there is to tell the story of how the company enacted the culture in the way that you wanted it to. And, I've been telling stories about, talking CEOs on the right way to lay people off, and like how you have to have those conversations and so forth, just so people like in the firm know what's important to us. And then it's also a kind of an opportunity to put emphasis on the ideas that you have. So one of our cultural kind of values is we take a long view of relationships. And great, we're not taking a transactional view. What does that mean? Well, here's what it means, guys. Like, we're in COVID. We have all these corporate partners that aren't buying anything. So call them. Call them now when there's no reason for you to call other than you care about their business. We want to reach out and see how we can help. They may not be able to buy anything, but we can give them advice on how to optimize how they're working from home, how, what's coming down the pike on technology and so forth. So just, it's a good activity to do, but it's one that makes everybody go, wow, like we did that during COVID and that's who we are. So, ideas like that, I think at a time like this are important.
Given what's going on, Ben, in these uncertain times, what advice are you giving your companies?
Yeah, I mean, like the number one thing, when you're in a crisis is, watch your cash. Just because that's the one, I think Peter Drucker had a line, the one unforgivable sin in business is running out of cash. And you can recover anything else, but that one is very tricky. And because we're in the pandemic, the capital markets have actually been pretty good, but they can change at any point. And so that's, that remains the first thing. And I think the other thing is the thing that we just talked about, which is, you have to pay attention to your culture now because it's changing in ways that you don't understand. And then finally, employees are going through, whatever you're going through, your employees may be going through something worth just from a family standpoint, from a young children's standpoint, from a mental health standpoint. And so you really just have to pay extra attention to everyone working for you because, look, as a CEO, there are always situations where somebody gets divorced or somebody has an addiction problem or somebody has something happen where all of a sudden their performance goes south. Okay, that's going to be much more prevalent now. And so you have to have a deep understanding of what's going on with the people that work for you.
So what trends excite you, interest you, you think where you expect some breakthroughs to happen?
Well, I mean, probably the most relevant one right now is in biotech and computational biology. And we're kind of seeing that with the vaccine. So if you go back in time, I think the fastest vaccine developed before now was like the mumps vaccine, and it was 4 years, I believe. But if you look at how the process for developing vaccines, it was, you grow like a flu vaccine out of chicken eggs and things like that. And so not only getting the vaccine was hard, now it was imprecise, and it was, very hard to manufacture. Now companies like Moderna are printing RNA, like literally, and it's a whole new world of kind of vaccines. And then the other equally exciting thing kind of on the COVID front is the antibody therapies, which hopefully they work, but if they do work, it could be literally a magic bullet where you get COVID and they give you a shot and you're better. So like just the fact that any of that stuff is possible is really remarkable. Also seeing similar innovations in testing, and I think there's going to be some very rapid COVID tests coming out soon that are highly accurate. And so all that is, I think, an indicator of how far we've come in biotech in very recent years. I mean, even since the Ebola outbreak. And so that, that's probably the most kind of relevant, interesting area. The other one that I think, 2021 is probably going to be a really remarkable year for crypto. If you look at the projects that are coming out, how well distributed finance is working now, and then just the kind of need to have some mechanism for governing ourselves that's more advanced than what we've been doing. That's the other like really exciting area of technology.
Well, Ben, I could talk to you forever, as you know, I find it very enjoying. I'm sure the audience also enjoy it. But our time's up here. Could you maybe give me and the audience a closing thought?
Yeah, well, I think that we're in like a very, interesting and different kind of moment here in terms of kind of culture and race relations and all these things. It's certainly a different kind of thing than I've been through in my lifetime. And I would just say, it's a moment. And the way that moment becomes like a real change is, at least in the business world, is we've got to get real successes. And so I think that the doors, people who, a year ago would have been cut off an opportunity because they were uncomfortable, are going to take the opposite approach and open a door because they'd be uncomfortable not opening it. And in the moment, you can walk through that door, but it's what happens when you get on the other side that's going to really change the industry or change business, much more so than getting the initial opportunity. So I think that's the thing that we all have to focus on, is how do we get to the next giant companies started by diverse founders. And, I feel like we have a few in the portfolio that are going to go that way, but that's really the most important thing that's going to come out of this moment from a business context.
Thank you, Ben Horowitz.
All right. Thank you, Ken.
All righty. That closes our Fireside Chat for the day.
Awesome. Huge thanks to Ben Horowitz and Ken Coleman for sharing their knowledge and perspectives with us. And special thanks to Caretha Coleman, Ken's wife, for making this amazing conversation happen. We're grateful for their work and commitment to our communities and look forward to continuing the effort that these men have started to make diversity and inclusion and entrepreneurship the norm. Next up, we have Tony Waller, Senior Director of Diversity Relations at Walmart. In his role, Tony sets Walmart's strategy for outreach and investments in Walmart's African American, American Indian, women, and mature communities. Prior to joining Walmart, Tony worked for 22 years at State Farm Insurance Company. Where in his last position, he was responsible for all external efforts in the multicultural community, as well as all efforts in auto safety, disaster preparedness, community and economic development, and financial education. We're very grateful to Tony and Walmart for their many years of long support. This is not a new thing. that Walmart is doing. They've been supporting Culture Shift Lives for a very long time. We're very grateful for that support. When it comes to companies that are talking the talk and walking the walk, Walmart is a perfect example. Without further ado, Tony Waller.
Thank you, Randy. I really appreciate that very, very kind introduction. You give me more credit than I deserve. The truth is, I'm just a hoodlum trying to make it, but I appreciate the fact that you made me look so good today. As Randy indicated, my name is Tony Waller. I work for Walmart. And on behalf of Walmart and all of our associates, including many of my friends and colleagues who are on this call with me today, we welcome you to this wonderful Tech Entrepreneurs of Color event. First and foremost, before I even kind of get started here, the conversation that just took place was awesome. Ben Horowitz, you are the man. Ken, you are the man. And I took so many good things away from this conversation. And in fact, I would say that part of my remarks, Ben must have borrowed the stuff from me, because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm getting ready to say something like that. But so if you don't mind, Ben, I'm gonna steal some of your stuff for a bit. I'm really looking forward to this event. And for those of you who, there are many who are on this call who know me already, but for those of you who don't know me, just a little something about me. I am a collector by nature. I love collecting. Don't ask me why, but I do. Anything from artwork, ties, pocket squares. Ladies, I love shoes. Shoes are my kryptonite. And fellas too, because I know there's some good fellas out here who like the shoes, but shoes are my kryptonite. But the one thing that I absolutely love collecting, believe it or not, are quotes. I carry around this little raggedy notebook, and I'm forever writing down things that people say. It always is fascinating to me how people can take words and put them together in a way that can really create something that's incredibly moving. And so I was thinking about, like, what could I share with you all today? And I said, oh, well, let me mention you of a quote, because I've been thinking about this particular quote for quite some time. And the quote is, may you live in interesting times. May you live in interesting times. And in doing research about these words, I know no one knows exactly where that quote comes from. There's all kind of theories of where these words come from. Some say it comes from Egypt. Some say they come from Scotland. Some say they come from the Midwest of the US. Some say these words are considered, a curse. And some say these words are considered a blessing. But isn't it interesting that today we are definitely living in interesting times? Who would have ever thought that at this time we would be dealing with something like COVID-19, or be dealing with the incredible racial unrest that exists in this country? Who would have ever thought that that would be happening in our lifetime, here in 2020 as we begin a new decade? Who would ever thought that? And I think about that also in the realm of what we're talking about today, right? Here we are talking about innovation and innovation in tech. And isn't this an interesting time for you as well, all you tech entrepreneurs? Because you could say, hey, man, am I living in an interesting time right now? It's tough, it's hard. I don't know what to do. Maybe my idea is too crazy. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Or you could turn around and say, man, am I living in interesting times? A time where truly, with all the challenges that are taking place, is a real opportunity for me to make the kind of innovation that nobody can make but I can. So I'm excited about it. I would suggest to you that we should be looking at it as a great thing, that we are in interesting times. I look back at our own founder, Sam Walton, who began Walmart back in 1962. He was definitely also in an interesting time. Before starting Walmart, he was an owner, a franchisee owner of Ben Franklin's. I don't know how many people know what a Ben Franklin's is, but it's a little five and dime kind of store. that at the time was franchised. The franchise owners did not care for how Sam Walton was running his store and basically told him to shape up, to get with the program, or move on. Man, was that an interesting time for him. So he could have said, oh, what an interesting time, and kind of conformed and said, this is how it's going to be. Or he could have done what he did do, which is said, man, this is an interesting time, and I think that I can do it better than Ben Franklin. And he starts a little store called Walmart. So if Sam Walton could do something like that, think about what my Black brothers and sisters who are incredible innovators and entrepreneurs can do. You can do it even bigger and better. Now, I'll add a little caveat to that. When it does happen, y'all, don't forget a brother. I could use another job. Now, don't get me wrong, too. I love what I'm doing at Walmart, and they've been very, very good to me, and I'm glad to be doing the work that I'm doing. But I say all of what I'm saying to say, this is a wonderful time for you. And I am so excited to see what you all will be bringing to the table, because it truly is an interesting time. And so to all of you entrepreneurs out there, may you live in this wonderful, interesting time. For the best for you is yet to come. And with that, I will turn it over to Terrell Sterling.
Thank you so much, Tony. I can't even say how many times I am excited about your pocket squares. I need to step up my pocket square game. And thank you again to the entire Walmart family for your support for today's event. We also like to thank our sponsors, Morgan Stanley, as well, for your support for the Tech Entrepreneurs of Color Luncheon. My name is Charles Sterling, and I'm the founder of Go Paladin, a nonprofit community focused on supporting the underrepresented entrepreneur. I am delighted to be co-producing this year's Tech Entrepreneurs of Color Luncheon. When Andrea asked Randy and I to co-produce this event, I couldn't wait to work collaboratively to source and find the amazing entrepreneurs you're going to be hearing from today. Culture Shift Weekend is the culmination of a community of innovators, pathfinders, and leaders who have carved a path for culture shifters like myself who follow behind. We are a community of abundance and generosity. So if during the pitches today you see a company or companies that you feel could really benefit your company or someone in your network and that might be interested in investing, please make Shift happen and connect everyone. Okay, enough of me now. On to the main event. I would like to first welcome up Tanya Menendez. She is the co-founder and CEO of Snowball Wealth, a platform that helps people understand and pay off their student debt. Snowball provides personalized goals and recommendations on how and what to pay off debt on an average user, and their average user saves over $6,000. Before Snowball, Tanya co-founded Makers Row, an online marketplace used by over 200,000 businesses that helped democratize American manufacturing. Before becoming an entrepreneur, she worked at Goldman Sachs and Google. Tanya has been included in Forbes 30 Under 30 list and named one of People's En Español most powerful Latinas. I'd like to turn it over to Tanya and Snowball Wealth.
Thank you so much, and it's such a pleasure to be here. I started Snowball to solve a problem I experienced personally. I overpaid over $30,000 in just interest for my student loans, and I was frustrated by the lack of transparency in the industry. Our three co-founders have spent more than a decade in finance and tech industries, working at places like Goldman Sachs, Microsoft, and Google. And unlike most fintech founders, we represent our target users, as over 2/3 of student loans are held by women. Snowball Wealth offers free personalized plans to pay off debt, and we are poised to unlock financial progress for the 46 million student debt holders. I thought it would be helpful to share a story of how one of our users was able to use Snowball and give you a peek at our new homepage design. So let me share my screen. This is Chanel. Chanel came to us with over 100,000 in student loans and in federal and private student loans. She was able to refinance her student loans and save over $10,000. Here's a quote from her in a recent blog post interview that we had. Everything was daunting. I had over 100,000 in student debt with growing interest, and it was the first time I saw it all laid out for me. I refinanced my student loan through Snowball and saved over $10,000. Besides the financial savings, Snowball saved me headaches. Also, the Snowball Slack community helped me when I asked how to go about asking for promotion during the pandemic. Chanel was able to receive the promotion and a pay raise through the recommendations she received through the Snowball Slack community. And we want to unlock this type of financial confidence and progress for millions of others. Today, we are looking for university partners and other strategic organizations to partner with. And we recently closed a pre-seed round from industry-leading investors, and we'd like to meet potential investors for our upcoming seed round. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much. It's very exciting to hear how Snowball Wealth has been able to help folks change, not only go after their student debt, but it's something that's super relevant in today's times. Next, I'd like to introduce Wole Coxum. In 2004, as the city of Ferguson, Missouri erupted in protests following the police shooting death of an unarmed Black teenager, an Oxford-educated African-American Wall Street executive sat in his office and considered ways to address social inequities by closing the racial wealth gap. 2 years later, that executive, Wole Coxum, launched MoCaFi as a digital banking platform that would target the more than 50 million unbanked and underbanked people in the US. Today, MoCaFi is a Black-owned and led fintech that has enrolled more than 25,000 users, raised more than $6 million in funding, and has collaborated with Fortune 100 companies and established a presence in major US cities. MoCaFi is a no-fee alternative for financially underserved consumers in the US who spend $189 billion in fees and interest on financial products every year. MoCaFi gets paid by other partners in the networks so we can focus on building the best financial relationship with our customers. Welcome, Wole Coxum, CEO and co-founder.
Thank you very much, Jarrell. It's great to be here, and it's great to be with all of you today. I want to just take a moment just to tell just a quick story. So MoCaFi was created to deal with a problem of how do we bridge the wealth gap in this country through mobile banking and services that allow people to build their credit and get access to the products that all of us take for granted. The numbers are staggering, but just know that 50% of people of color are either unbanked or underbanked in this country. The average person who is underbanked can spend up to $40,000 in his or her lifetime on fees. And if you actually took the fees and invested that, it could be worth $200,000 of savings instead of $40,000 of fees, assuming an appropriate return. What MoCaFi has created is a mobile banking solution, but we think the time has come now for MoCaFi and technology to change how the other half banks. We've got a free platform where we're transforming communities, the stores in the communities into local bank branches. We've got 55,000 free ATMs, 80,000 stores where people can get money in their account and take money off their account for free, and it's a full DDA account. Our moat is partnering with cities where we are able to transform municipal ID cards and add the banking services to those cards. It's an idea a long time coming. We're the first company that's going to execute against that. And I have 3 cities that we'll be announcing in the next 30 days that represent over 12 million people who will be rolling out the MoCaFi platform. Our business model is we make money in interchange. We get program management fees from our partners like municipalities, and we also act as a platform to refer products and services that are responsible to our network of individuals who need high quality products. Our differentiation is we have an authentic brand. We distribute through municipalities. We've got terrific community partnerships, and we actually are becoming the technology to drive Black-owned banks and their growth into the future, bringing technology and marketing. Inertia is our biggest competitor. You have a lot of the other fintech companies that are solving other people's problems, but they're not solving the community problems in the same way that Mochify is, and we're very proud of that. Our team looks like Wakanda in terms of the leadership and real jobs of people, from head of tech to sales to the founder of the company to marketing. We're very proud of that. We have an advisory board that represents the best in the industry. Whether it's financial services, whether it's technology. We have a lot of traction. We have built Tesla in terms of challenger bank capabilities, competitive with any of the challenger banks in the country. We will have 5 municipalities on our platform in some way, shape, or form by the end of the year. We think we can have 50 over the next 5 years, and we think we can reach 30 million people in our journey. Our ask of you is help bring the Mochify vision to scale. We want to scale our marketing and development. We want to have meaningful societal change, and we need folks to participate in our seed round, in our Series A round. So we're excited. We believe that we can shape the future and would love your partnership in doing so. Thank you.
Thank you, Wole. So much passion. I don't know if you could feel that from here, but it was very passionate, and I'm very excited about what y'all are doing. And thank you for being with us today. Our next entrepreneur is Earl Watson, CEO of Zealot. Zealot is a digital entertainment company whose main product is Fragger, home of the friendly wager. And here to tell us more about it is Earl Watson. Earl Watson is a sports commentator and entrepreneur. He is also a former NBA head coach. In fact, the youngest head coach in the NBA history. He played in the NBA from 2001 to 2014 and was a leading college basketball player at UCLA under the renowned head coach, John Wooden. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Just telling a little bit about our story and how we got into Frazier from the Zealot Inc. We're very excited to be here. Growing up African-American and Mexican-American, I learned a lot about different cultures, and to be able to pursue and passion that culture through ability of creation and motivation for groups of people. And actually going back to UCLA and getting my degree, I learned a lot about this next generation of young people who we see now changing our world. Frazier is the friendly wager, where it's the home of a digital social entertainment app where we engage in esports, e-gaming, professional sports, and anything live entertainment. We really believe this movement that we have in our country that's impacting our globe is based on young children who grew up their entire lives playing video games with other races, other genders, and other religions, who no longer see color, but they see connectivity through apps and through engagement digitally. We have 3 boxes in live chat to engage that app. One of the 3 boxes we have is dinners and drink. If you Frazier a friend, the next is digital currency, could be a Starbucks gift card to engage or network with anyone, anywhere around the world. And the last one is other, that leaves us opportunity to scale. The thing about Frazier that we understand is we come to this in an amazing time of political journey, engagement, and growth. And we believe the future through COVID-19 is in-home networking without personal encounters and engagement to protect the health reasons that we face of today. The why. We understand communication, innovation, and grit. We understand that we don't have all the answers, but we have that passion and commitment to continue to grow, to continue to move. And that's something I learned from Coach John Wooden. Always have preparation to be adjustable and to kind of navigate through any challenges you see. And we are looking for Series A funding. And here's a little bit of the actual Frazier app. As you see right here, you can come in, it's the prototype you can select. I'm from Kansas City. Unfortunately, they picked the New England Patriots, but it's okay. We won last year, so I'm gonna take it. And you can challenge a friend, and we believe this engagement takes us to higher levels of global interaction around the world. Say you wanna network and engage with another coworker, another business partner. This is a great way to do it on a platform where you're not always engaged with just business opportunities. This kind of breaks the ice and breaks the bread. And we understand apps have a chance to grow. So we're looking for Series A funding. We look forward to talking to anyone who's interested and invested in this idea, and really say thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for being here as well, Earl, and very excited to see Frazier and getting out in the market, and very excited for what you all are doing there at Zealot.
Thank you.
Up next, we have Star Cunningham, founder and CEO of 4D Healthware. So Star Cunningham is known for her global experience. Oh my lord. See, here we go, technology. Known for her global experience at IBM's Smarter Planet, where she launched AI and machine learning initiatives using IBM's Smart Planet service delivery platforms. Her personal experience managing chronic conditions and witnessing health disparities in her community, in concert with her experience at IBM, drove her to develop a platform in the healthcare space that uses AI and machine learning to address gaps in care. 4D Healthware is an enhanced telemedicine solution that improves patient engagement and outcomes. They are servicing patients today with cardio hypertension, oncology, diabetes, behavioral health issues, and COVID-19. Please welcome up Star Cunningham.
Thank you so much for having me. It's very exciting to be here today. I wanted to start off by saying back in the 90s, I was one of 2 women that majored in computer science on my college campus. And in the 2000s, Terrell mentioned IBM. I was also one of 2 women working on those Smarter Planet initiatives. And you fast forward to 2020, I am one woman who is running an AI and machine learning company in the healthcare space that is designed around the poorest and most disadvantaged people in healthcare. What do we do at 4D Healthware? We outfit the patient with a Bluetooth-enabled and Wi-Fi-enabled tablet, along with Bluetooth-enabled devices, like this is a blood pressure cuff, this is an EKG monitor that is FDA approved, and this is a diabetes glucometer. These 3 things patients need, but there's only one place where patients who have multiple conditions can utilize multiple devices in a device agnostic way to obtain benefit from the data that comes from the devices in terms of their care and their outcomes. Once that patient is outfitted with the tablet and the devices, they are also presented with their patient engagement advisor that is a 4D Healthware clinical care person. It's a lot of complexity to pack into 3 minutes, but imagine a virtual health center that's able to provide health services in a virtual way. And I've also built the provider who receives payment from the insurance company for providing those services. So most of my competitors are in the space on a subscription-based model. Or you may think of a company like Teladocs or MD Live, where you pay for the visit that you have. Medicare rings my cash register on an hourly basis with payments that are made to me for providing services to their patients. I not only have credentials with Medicare, I also have credentials with Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, Aetna, Humana, and numerous other large insurers and payers in the space. When it comes to managing people who look like me in a virtual way, it is very important to tap into things like an understanding of social distancing. What does it mean, PPE? How do I get to a place where I am quarantined when I have generations in my home who are in a lot of those jobs that we have now defined as essential? Well, 4D Healthware feels with passion that we need to provide services to those people in a way that is receptive to them, and that's what we do. We just closed our largest month of revenue with almost $80,000 in revenue this month. Next year, this time, we'll be at $480,000 in revenue, monthly recurring revenue. My ask of this team is to participate in the rounds where we're raising capital now. Our seed round is an additional $500,000 in capital that is open, and we will be raising a Series A toward the middle of next year. Thank you so much for having me today. We are 4D Healthware.
Thank you so much, Star, for being a part of our event today, and congratulations on booking $80,000 in revenue this month. That is amazing. Keep it up. We're very excited about your continued growth and the work that you are doing. Next up, we have Elijah Sharp, CEO and co-founder of Smart DXS. Smart DXS is developing a distributed platform diagnosed to accelerate advancements in the detection, interpretation, and prevention of disease. I would like to welcome Elijah. Elijah, you might be muted. He's there. All right, well, all right, Elijah, I see you. You're muted. You're talking. Here, if you have headphones on, we can't hear you. So if we may skip and come back, let's see, try it one more time. All right, perfect. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and come back to you, Elijah. We're gonna go ahead and go over to Travis Holloway, and then we'll come back to you, Elijah, all right? Perfect. So up next, we have Travis Holloway, co-founder and CEO of Solo Funds. Solo, our social loans, is the first mobile lending exchange in the US and has unlocked $11.5 billion of new annual lending capital for individual lenders ready to fulfill the requests of borrowers in need of small dollar loans under $1,000. Solo solves the demand of the 41% of Americans that cannot solve a $400 emergency cash need. Solo leverages its proprietary risk mitigation technology, the Solo Score, and a regulatory efficient flow of funds process created by a team of experts that include former executives from FICO, Aspiration, UBS, and Northwestern Mutual. With mostly organic growth, Solo has become one of the country's fastest growing fintech companies. Welcome up, Travis Holloway.
Hi, yeah, you can hear me, right?
Perfect.
Awesome. So appreciate that. So I started Solo for a very simple reason. I'm sure many of us can probably relate to this. My friends and family were consistently asking me for money, whether it was small dollar loans for gas or utility bills or to make rent. I realized that this was a major issue. And unfortunately, I just couldn't find any viable solution to send them to get access to these loans that I was currently being requested on a regular basis. So with that said, I realized something that was really important, and it was that 41% of the country can't solve an emergency cash need of just $400 without borrowing from someone else or selling a personal asset. Unfortunately, women, and particularly minority women, are the individuals who bear the heaviest burden. 78% of the country that lived paycheck to paycheck even before COVID made weekly trips to payday lenders and were paying 400% average interest rates just to make ends meet. There's actually more payday lenders in the country than there are McDonald's. There's about 20,000, which is actually really disgusting when you think about the neighborhoods that they're preying on, which oftentimes are minority neighborhoods where people like I grew up. So we created Solo, which is a mobile lending exchange connecting individual lenders to individual borrowers for the purpose of providing more affordable access to loans under $1,000. Lenders can earn industry-leading returns up to 12% per transaction and have a positive social impact on their communities. Borrowers are actually empowered to create their own terms and can solve their short-term cash needs more affordably than ever. Solo makes a transaction fee on the loans that are facilitated on the platform, and Solo is uniquely positioned in the market as there's no other company that looks just like us. We're the only small dollar, completely mobile lending platform in the country today. 60% of our growth actually comes from word of mouth, which just goes to show how positive our users see the platform and the clear differentiation that we present in the market. Solo has originated over 45,000 loans since April. 45,000 loans since origination. Since launch. Our revenue is up 500% since April. We're currently growing loan volume and new users by 40% month over month. We're funding loans on an average of 1 hour, which is unprecedented in the peer-to-peer lending space. No one's ever come close to that. And we're currently doing actually over $100,000 per month in revenue, and we're expected to break even by January 2021. Our team is comprised of subject matter experts from some of the teams, from some of the country's leading fintechs across the country. As mentioned, Aspiration, Tala, Oscar, Northwestern Mutual, to name a few. We're currently supported by advisors who have both founded and led some of the country's most successful companies. We're a full-time team of 16. We raised $6 million to date from a phenomenal group of early-stage investors, such as Mac Venture Capital, Impact America Fund, Rich Dennis, and We Are Techstars Company. We're currently raising our Series A, and we're currently looking for a lead, a co-lead, or other participatory capital. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Travis. It's very exciting to hear what Solo Funds has done in just the short amount of time that y'all have been in existence. We're continually excited about your success.
Thank you.
We're gonna hop back over to Elijah Sharp over at Smart DX. Elijah. Or we're not. Elijah, are you there? All right, we look like we're still having a little bit of a technical difficulties here. Can go ahead and try to talk. Let's see if we have it. If not, we'll can't hear you. All right, we're gonna go ahead and pop over. We'll come back to you again, Elijah. All right, we're gonna go over to Rhiannon Lynn, co-founder and CEO of Journey Foods. Journey Foods solves food science and supply chain inefficiencies with software in order to help companies feed 8 billion people better. They built enterprise technology that improves product management, ingredient intelligence, and manufacturing insights for CPG companies, ingredient suppliers, and manufacturers. With a focus on saving companies money and time, Journey Foods tools accelerate innovation and improve decision-making with critical regulatory, sustainability, nutrition, and supply chain data. The solutions give management teams significant data to save time and money monitoring and launching products in the $3 trillion packaged food market, as well as they have an amazing newsletter if you're not signed up for it. I would love to invite up Rhiannon Lynn, co-founder and CEO of Journey Foods.
Terrell, thank you and the culture shifting team. I'm really happy to be here. You guys have been such great supporters, and I want a quick shout out to my favorite Zoom person, Kimberly Marshall. So at Journey Foods, we are feeding Wakanda, but not really. Terrell said lots there. We're a software and data services platform that's really focused on bringing and developing the new workforce of the future for the millions of products that we all touch and know, from the grocery stores and Instacarts and Walmart and all the places that we've been very uniquely engaged with over the past several months especially. So I want to just dive into really what the problem is and why it touches all of us very personally. Every single day, more than 70% of our daily caloric intake has to do with manufactured and processed foods, much of it very highly processed. And this is leading to not only deleterious effects on our health, but also the environment. And many companies are struggling to feed all of us and meet a lot of our needs, not only for their bottom line and their sustainability of their companies, but also for many driven consumer demands that are changing every single day. And so the average company now is taking many months to years to get a retail ready product on the market. And with the Journey Foods platform, we've been able to use data from over 18,000 manufacturers and suppliers with over 1.5 billion ingredient insights that helps them save on average more than 78% time and a lot of the strategic decisions that help them reformulate packaged products or launch new products with our trials of over 123 users. To date, we, in a year and a half, have achieved over $1 million in revenue. We have over 15 paying enterprise customers that include the likes of Unilever, Walmart partners, Soylent, and beyond. We're very excited with the platform that we built because it's data focused. And we're really looking for partners that understand that supply chain and speed is going to help us here. And so we built a platform model that integrates some of the leading solutions such as Microsoft. We're working on SAP and would love to connect with more available here, I think, in the call, so that we can really drive and create the world's most actionable food and ingredient database. Our team does not look like Wakanda, but we're hiring very intentionally and remotely because we have clients and investors from over 3 continents right now. We're looking really to bring a remote team that believes in the future of food. I myself, Ben mentioned it on the call as we came in. I was a biologist. This is about the future of biology and technology of food, but also the driven sort of environment behind in the momentum behind what food is in the venture capital arena has really helped us accelerate our growth. So we've closed our seed round, but really looking for small checks on the strategic side. And we have just an amazing set of and pipeline of hires that we would like to bring on in the coming months. So partnerships, introductions to food and beverage companies that likely have more than 20 million in revenue, and then great minds to help us accelerate our data acquisition is really what we're looking for. And just the passion. We continue to drive a very engaging newsletter because solving food is complex. The most complexity of supply chains globally exists in the food and agriculture market, and we're really happy to be a part of culture shifting so that we can go out and solve this problem. Thank you so much for the time.
Thank you so much, and very exciting. And I think this might be a good fit potentially for Sam's Club. I know that y'all are out there looking for amazing partners like Journey Foods, and I think this would be a great potential conversation. Up next, I'd like to welcome up Mark Fleming of Nomi. Mark Fleming is a co-founder of Nomi, a complete production solution for beauty brands. They're a multiplier for new product design, sourcing, manufacturing, and shipping fulfillment into the first vertically integrated platform for beauty brands. Their mission is to empower diverse content creators to build authentic brands. Their vision is to make B2B purchasing as streamlined as B2C purchasing. Welcome, Mark Fleming.
Hi, how are you? And you can hear me pretty well, right?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Great. Well, like you said, I'm Mark Fleming, and my company, Nomi, allows anyone to launch and manage their own beauty brand. We multi-layer the global beauty supply chain into one easy-to-use online interface. We combine design, sourcing, sampling, manufacturing, and delivery into one simple web application. By doing that, we dramatically lower the cost for beauty brands of any size, large and small. Essentially, we're a complete production solution for beauty brands. We take the headache out of manufacturing products so companies can focus on what they know best, and that's growing their brand. The global beauty market will grow to $800 billion by 2025. Half of that, or $400 billion, is driven by content creators and indie beauty brands. Although those are big numbers, we are hyper-focused at Nomi on our current core customers. Our obtainable market within the next several years are the 24,000 content creators and indie beauty brands in the US beauty market that are selling through social media. For us, this will equal $500 million in yearly SaaS revenue and $3 billion in yearly purchase order fees for Nomi. But that is just our current serviceable market, and we look to expand our market in the future with a strong pipeline of products. I began this company after living in Hangzhou, China, where I worked at Alibaba Group. There, I developed a strong knowledge of supply chain and cross-border e-commerce and learned the power of influencers and indie beauty brands to the beauty industry. My co-founder, James Tong, worked at 2 startups where he helped brands scale and content creators launch their own beauty brands. My co-founder is Taiwanese American, our CTO is Nigerian American, our head of supply chain is Chinese American, our head of marketing is Indian American, and our head of brand experience is Latina. More importantly, half of the founding members of our team are women. We would like to say we are the most diverse startup in Silicon Valley. Currently, we are raising our pre-seed round, and half of our pre-seed round was committed in August, and we're looking to close in September. Our mission is to make B2B buying for companies as easy as B2C buying for customers on Amazon. So join us, partner with us, invest in us in the future of retail, where any person on any place in this world can sell to anyone else in the world, from Kenya to Mozambique to China to Germany, and yes, the US. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark. That was exciting, and we're very excited about what you're building there at Nomi. Up next, we'll have Sean Springs, CEO of WinPact. WinPact is a technology and material science company that creates and produces best-in-class solutions designed to reduce impact-related injuries. The company helps sports, military, and automotive clients improve their products through analysis, design, and integration of customized padding solutions. The team is disrupting a $193 billion market with a goal of having WinPack protective solutions produced all over the world, solving some of the market's most difficult challenges. This is something I've personally seen firsthand at Tesla, and I'm very excited to introduce Sean Springs to tell you more. Sean?
Thanks, Terrell, for that introduction. And you talk about a real cultural shift as a professional athlete, now working in the space where I'm solving the problem. So I'm Sean Springs, founder and CEO of WinPack. WinPack, as Terrell mentioned, is a technology and material science company focused on analysis, design, and integration of impact protection solutions. We are a B2B company, and we help our clients create their product and work with their development teams to produce the best-in-class solutions designed to reduce impact-related injuries. The need for improved safety has never been higher. I can tell you firsthand after playing 13 years in the NFL, how impacts in sports have affected my life. But you don't have to be a professional NFL player to understand the seriousness of the things that we're working on and the products that we're helping improve and develop. Everyone is affected. We're all affected by impacts every day. Injuries suffered where your kids are playing sports, millions of car accidents every year, soldiers on the battlefield who protect for our freedom, and shipping containers. Most of us at home now in this COVID world, so we get Amazon and FedEx packages at home, we protect all those things. Those are real life impact scenarios that we work on and we take serious every day. Working with our clients in a broad range of industries and applications, including sports, military, and automotive. Those are the industries that we're currently working in. And we have products on the market in baseball, where you may watch a baseball game tonight, see our Wilson and Eva Shield catcher's mask, where we saw for umpires getting hit in the face with 110 miles per hour pitch. We were able to reduce that for us. We won 3 awards with the NFL, who I'm proud to say are the leaders in sports and head trauma and safety. And the thing that we've been highly concentrated on the last couple of years is the defense, working with the Department of Defense, where we improved the combat helmet for the United States Army. I have a near and dear soft spot because my mom was in the military, but we've improved the combat helmet almost 200%, creating a new standard where now over the next 5 to 10 years, WinPack could be the solution or interior padding system for our soldiers for the next 5 to 10 years. I'm pretty excited about that opportunity, and that's a really game changer for our company. Our technology is helping our clients solve unique challenges, enabling brands to move from what we say the trial and error, or I like to say the encyclopedia days, to this new age of product development, getting to the Google world. That old and antiquated way of developing products has to change. And you talking about a real cultural shift. The reason why we've had success, I'm gonna try to break it down and make it simple as possible, and it's hard to do, but easy to understand, is due to our in-depth understanding of materials used. Our proprietary material database runs these complicated models that allows us to reduce and predict the end solutions for the optimal solution for our customers. And we are able to down select, and therefore our customers have the best story to tell to their customers. We get paid from development fees and recurring revenues once those products are on the market. And it's a win-win for everybody. The benefits to our clients and what we bring and why they like working with us is we help our clients reduce development time, improve efficiencies, and most importantly, cost savings are often is what they're looking for without compromising in performance and safety. Now our clients can tell stories of impact protection, improve impact protection, and communicate to the customers, you out there in the world, about the message of safety and the priority of separating themselves from the competitors, because now they can tell a story of safety. All the moms who are going to Dick's saying, I want the safest product for my kids to play football or lacrosse. We're working with those top brands who are producing those products. Today, we've raised over $6 million, led by groups like Harvard Business Angels, Ohio Innovation Fund, and How Net Worth Individuals and Family Offices. We are currently raising another $2.5 million. That's going to allow us to be able to execute and bring more great products to the market and we're excited to continue to grow our business. Our total addressable market today is about 200 billion and expected to grow to 300 billion by 2025. Our goal is to have Winpac's products sold all around the world, solving some of the most difficult and challenging problems. And we're excited if there's an impact we can solve for it. And when the world changes, hopefully you can get some of our products, whether it's a bicycle helmet or the safety interior vehicles that we allow to do when the world comes back around. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much. And looking forward to having your product in all bicycle helmets and motorcycle helmets. We all need it. And thank you. And we're excited about what you're continuing to build there at Winpac. Next, I'd like to introduce Alice Vilma, Managing Director in Multicultural Client Strategy over at Morgan Stanley. I also want to stop and say thank you to Morgan Stanley for being a sponsor for Culture Shift Weekend, as well as the Tech Entrepreneurs of Color Luncheon. Without your support, we wouldn't be able to do the amazing work that we do and the continued work to help highlight a lot of the amazing founders and entrepreneurs you're hearing from today. Alice Vilma is the Managing Director in New York City, where she strengthens Morgan Stanley's connection to the multicultural business community through development and execution of commercial opportunities with corporate, government, institutional, and individual clients. She is also co-lead head of the Morgan Stanley Multicultural Innovation Lab, an accelerator that invests in and supports tech and tech-enabled startups with a multicultural or woman founder. Ms. Vilma has been with Morgan Stanley for nearly 15 years and has had different roles within the firm, including equity capital markets and securitization. She has over 20 years of investment banking, capital markets, structured finance, and investment experience, executing over 25 billion of securitization, structured finance, and equity transactions. She graduated cum laude with a BBA in finance from the University of Miami and received her MBA from the Harvard Business School. Welcome, Alice Vilma.
Hi, I'm Alice Vilma, Managing Director and co-head of the Multicultural Client Strategy Group at Morgan Stanley. A special thank you to all of the entrepreneurs presenting here today, and to Andrea, Denmark, and the entire Culture Shifting team for moving forward with such an important event, despite the uncertainty of these difficult times. Last year, Morgan Stanley released a white paper called Beyond the VC Funding Gap, which surveyed investors from across the country on the state of access to capital for entrepreneurs of color. The results were staggering, revealing that 3 out of 5 investors say investing in diverse entrepreneurs is not a top priority for their firms, and that investors capitalize multicultural and women-owned businesses at only 80% compared to their counterparts. While disappointing, those statistics underscore the importance of creating and supporting platforms like these to showcase some of the most important and innovative ideas from entrepreneurs of color in the startup ecosystem. At Morgan Stanley, we pride ourselves on the initiatives that help level the playing field, such as our Multicultural Innovation Lab, a 5-month accelerator for companies led by a woman or multicultural founder in the tech space. Through the Multicultural Innovation Lab, we provide founders with access to capital, best-in-class content to help accelerate their growth, and connections that expand beyond the full depth and breadth of the Morgan Stanley network. Currently in our 4th cohort and accepting applications for the Winter 2021 program, we remain committed to leading at the forefront of addressing the inequities in the distribution of capital to women and multicultural entrepreneurs. While we still have a long way to go, I believe that our society is at the pinnacle of a unique opportunity to help close the funding gap for women and founders of color by amplifying and supporting their stories and innovative ideas. By doing so, we not only empower more founders of color, but we help to attract more capital to their companies and to encourage and create long-lasting social and economic change. I look forward to hearing from the remaining entrepreneurs here today, and thank you for your time. Happy deal making.
Randy, you're muted.
I think he's on mute.
All right. Well, as technology does what technology does, and I'm sure every founder can attest this as well. While we're waiting for Randy's volume and audio to come back on, we'll go ahead and move on to the next founder. I'd like to welcome up Daryl Thompson, co-founder and COO, and Austin Weber, co-founder of Push Through Innovations. Deeper is a reimagined music data via their patent-pending music discovery app for fans while delivering a deeper set of data analytics to the music, film, and television industry. Welcome, gentlemen, and excited to hear more about your product.
Thank you. Music is the soundtrack to our lives. It impacts us in everything we experience, from working out to watching a movie or enjoying a social distance gathering. I want to ask everyone here to take a second and think about a few of your favorite songs. Okay, so do you know why those songs you just thought about are your favorites? I want you to hold that thought. Hi, I'm Austin Webster, founder and CEO of Deeper. I am a passionate music fan with an expertise in product and UX design.
Hi, I'm Daryl Thompson, and I'm the co-founder and COO of Deeper. As a music attorney for 30 years, I've built strong relationships with both key business executives and top-tier creators. Our core strengths, together with our data science and technical team, is a prime reason why you absolutely want to meet with us afterwards. We are music data reimagined.
The problem is, in this current landscape, data is king, and organizations need unique, differentiated data insights to empower the most profitable business decisions. Since moving to digital streaming, the need for data science is now critical across all industries, but is especially true for music, film, television, and gaming. This has been proven by the strong and continuous spending on data companies and SaaS products. So ultimately, what is the solution? The solution is Deeper. Deeper offers a unique data product that truly utilizes the creators behind the music to provide valuable and deeper insights into why a particular song is special. Our competitors provide insights and analytic visualizations based on publicly available performance data and social media metrics. There is a true missed opportunity to go beneath the surface to unlock richer insights. Deeper, on the other hand, has a new paradigm with our patent-pending interactive metadata, powered by a curated database of nearly 20 million songs and growing, to create a deep dive into the creators behind the music to unlock why consumers like or react to a particular record. Now, the cherry on top is the behavioral data gleaned from our consumer-facing music discovery app, currently available for iOS and Android devices.
What is the market opportunity? Well, a recent study showed that the global data analytics market in 2019 was $49 billion, which is more than double what it was just 4 years ago. We've targeted 3 market segments that clamor for Deeper's improved analytics. They are the music industry, film, television, and video game industries, as well as consumer brands and their ad agencies. Our business model revolves around introducing our SaaS Insights platform, licensing our technology, and APIs.
We are currently raising $1.7 million, which gives us an 18-month runway and takes us into complete product monetization. Thank you for your time, and we would love to schedule a one-on-one follow-up meeting to take you deeper.
So thanks so much, Daryl and Austin. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Great. I'm going to blame that on the Trump administration, and we're going to move forward. Welcome back. So I'd be remiss if I didn't give proper thanks to Alice Villman, Morgan Stanley. As I was saying, thank you, Alice and Morgan Stanley, for your support of a more diverse entrepreneurial ecosystem. We are really enthusiastic about having the long-term support of a global banking institution like Morgan Stanley, and the support that it's providing to Culture Shift Labs, Culture Shifting Weekend, and the greater diverse entrepreneurship ecosystem. through offerings like Morgan Stanley's Multicultural Innovation Lab. This is and has been a very powerful partnership. And to you, Alice and Morgan Stanley, we are most grateful. Next up, we have Hakeem James, the founder of Customer XI, a software company that helps businesses leverage consumer data to identify previously hidden customers and unlock previously hidden insights into their behavior. Founded by a former VP of product of a leading grocery retailer, Customer XAI brings online intelligence to a world that still remains largely offline, providing an unfiltered view and a unified view of customers across multiple locations and brands. CXI empowers any brand to activate their data to understand the true motivations behind consumer purchases. Please welcome Hakeem James.
All right, thank you for that intro. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me here at Culture Shift. So hi all, my name is Hakeem James. As you mentioned, I was a former VP of product for what was at one point in time the world's largest couponing company for retail grocery stores. So if you've ever gone into a grocery store and received that 6-foot receipt from a CVS, for instance, we were part of that product. Today, I'm the founder of Customer XI, where we're changing the world by providing offline intelligence to bridge the online world, helping businesses activate their data to find their hidden customers and maximize the value of their acquisition spend. While offline retail has been hit hard, essential services, QSR, grocery are on the rise, and trying to better understand how to capitalize on online campaigns and maximize their efforts where they're finding that their resources now are more finite than ever. Currently, we like to say we overserve the restaurant and convenience store verticals, where we are proud to lead the market as of today with capturing first-party data in over 30% of convenience stores in North America, while partnering brands such as Google for Restaurants to help better run their ads by providing offline measurement and attribution on consumer spending. This data is not only just valuable to the stores, but to manufacturers as well. Being able to identify consumers and their trends at their earliest helps us get to what we call the why behind the buy. We like to say, wouldn't it have been great to understand that avocado toast was going to be the next big thing before it happened? Well, this is data that we're able to capture because of our integrations, pulling POS data and tying it to outside resources and mom and pop restaurants where we see consumer spending. So we were able to identify trends such as that before the first CPG for avocados made over $1 million in sales. We have this capability across multiple brands and products by tying exact ingredients in the products to the consumers who are actually buying them, and then drilling down to the motivation of those buys so that you can better target and better understand why people like your product and build ideal lookalike profiles on your consumers at all levels. We provide a free platform today for independent and mom and pop stores who frankly need the ability to understand their customers the most, and a SaaS product to CPGs and enterprise retailers. Telling your audiences, being able to tell who are your audiences on the customer side, bridging the gap between online and offline, predicting when customers will return again and what they'll buy, and then adding the measurement as a service tool is how we're reimagining offline retail today to really bridge the gap between online. So today we're looking to get on the radar for investors as we launch our seed round of $2.5 million, as well as retailers and merchant processors like Micros at Oracle to partner with. We're a Microsoft for startup company, and I'll be dropping my email in the chat for anyone looking to connect. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Hakeem. As any business knows, information on the consumer is golden. So there's no question that your company has greater days ahead. We're really excited to see what you do. Next up, we have Michael Galauter, the CEO and founder of Cooler, the first carbon neutralization tool at point of sale. Cooler's API displays the carbon footprint of any transaction, product, or service at checkout or on a billing statement, and enables consumers and brands to instantly neutralize their impact. By detailing the elements of each footprint, consumers are educated and businesses build deeper customer relationships. By capturing transactional data, corporate partners are provided with powerful data on green shopping behaviors, a growing trend in the United States and also around the globe. And by connecting every purchase to certified pollution removal, Cooler is harnessing the power of US consumer spending to combat global warming. Please welcome Michael Galauter.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. Really a pleasure to be here. My founders and I have over 3 decades of experience at the intersection of climate change, social equity, and the market. And sitting around, any of us look around at Action on Climate and realize how painfully slow it is, even when there are good people in charge of our countries. That's true around the world. Well, the reality is consumers know that also. 81% of consumers are looking for action, and they want action primarily from the companies they shop with. And actually, 80% of Fortune 500 companies are already taking pretty aggressive action on climate change. They're just doing it behind the scenes in a way that their customers really are not that aware of. So Cooler is the first carbon neutralization of any transaction, product, or service at point of sale. I'll show you what we look like when deployed, for example. And we are, and the key, we're really easy to implement. You either get a key to our API or use one of our Shopify or other e-commerce platform integrations. People who sell stuff instantly get actionable information that help them make their products more sustainable. And they're able to also choose to neutralize those, make those products carbon neutral, either by paying for that themselves or by offering consumers a chance to kick in to make their purchases carbon neutral. And they also get a tracking ID, which lets them follow their impact moving forward, and ideally also in many cases, the impact of their consumers who might be shopping on other Cooler platforms. So what are some of our strengths? Is really, first of all, high integrity. We guarantee our calculations. When we're wrong, we will buy additional neutralization to make up for it. It's also incredibly cheap. Believe it or not, you can make almost any product in the United States carbon neutral for less than 0.5% of its purchase price. Again, some companies may choose to pay that for themselves. Others may choose to share it with their consumers. Cooler takes 20% of that, or we net 0.1% on every transaction we touch, which turns out to be a lot of money if you reach into even some small share of the climate conscious $15 trillion consumer shopping market in the United States alone. We also have impact. We do more than neutralize. The places we spend the money to neutralize create new jobs, create clean energy. A recent academic study has shown that it's reduced premature deaths by over 1,000 people over the last couple of years and has reduced hundreds of asthma cases and preterm low birth weights. We have more than a dozen customers to date. We launched on June 1st. Yoga Journal is one of our customers. Page 2 and 3. Off the cover, they ran 2-page spread, proud of their commitment, making it loud and proud and out there for the future that they will be carbon neutral, saying enough already and directing consumers who are not our primary customers, though, to our webpage to take a look at more. We really are motivated by two visions. The first is when you leave a store, when you've bought something, you're like, you look up at the sky, you look at the smoke in the Bay Area where I live right now, and you go, this is ridiculous. What can I do about this? And if you go to the right store, a Cooler store, you know that that store and you have partnered to make a difference, to put the screws to polluters, to take permits away from polluters, and really dirt out of the air. Our second vision is the Moscone Center. We're going to be the dial tone of carbon. And there's a million ways to implement this promotionally, seasonally, and all kinds of interesting ways. And we think this is an API that could spread across the developer landscape and really fill the Moscone Center with all forms of implementation and premium offerings. What do we need? We're raising a seed round. We'd love participation of some of the folks on this call. We need customers. And frankly, we would like to offer anybody who's participating today to become a Cooler customer. We'll give you a free promotional period, show you how it works, give you your footprint. You could be selling software, a service, consulting, durable goods. We'll show you its footprint. We'll show you some stuff you can do about it. And we'll help make you carbon neutral, make you a hero today, because God knows we all need more of those in this time. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Michael. Really powerful stuff, and I look forward to signing up with you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Next up, we have Kevin Dedner, the founder of Hurdle, the culture and community-focused mental health care company. As a leading provider of cultural intention, excuse me?
No, keep going.
Got it. As a leading provider of culturally intentional mental health care, Hurdle provides a digital platform that provides a comprehensive suite of mental health services and tools designed to meet the unique needs of employees from diverse cultural backgrounds. Please welcome Kevin Dedner.
Sorry. Just as it's my turn, the mailman comes, and sorry about that. Just as it's my turn, the mailman drops the mail and my dog goes crazy. First of all, let me just thank Andrea for the support that she's given our company over the last year since our founding. I also want to acknowledge that we are a part of the Morgan Stanley Multicultural Innovation Lab. So I also want to thank Alice and the entire team at Morgan Stanley for their support. Our story is very simple. Several years ago, I fell into a period of depression. and struggled to find a therapist that was a good match. In fact, I saw 3 therapists before I found our chief clinical officer today. After I recovered from my depression, I started talking publicly about it and learned that many of my friends had also suffered from depression. And what I realized in doing that is that 50% of African Americans who started therapy would terminate therapy prematurely. And so my experience was not unique. And so we started, I was asked a very simple question on August the 24th of 2017, and that was, had I ever considered doing anything in digital health? And that was a life-changing question for me, and that's when we started the company. Some of you all know that we recently rebranded. We started our company super focused on serving the needs of Black men. And over the last couple of years, we've done lots of work on our brand to make it more inclusive, but we've stayed anchored in our desire to serve the underserved population. When the pandemic hit, our services quickly ramped up. We've actually now logged more than 1,000 hours of services, of teletherapy hours over the last couple of months. But more importantly, since the pandemic has hit, we've also changed our business model. We were once focused on selling directly to the consumer, and now we're selling directly to businesses and employers. Our product is so different because what we do is we vertically integrate mental health wellness tools such as meditations, daily motivational messages with teletherapy. And we trained our therapists in an evidence, scientifically validated technique that helps them develop cultural humility. We're currently raising our seed round. Morgan Stanley is a participator, and we're looking for customers. In fact, we've had some scoping calls with some of the corporations that are represented today. And certainly if you are interested in meeting the needs of your employees, our members right now, we invite a conversation. We are literally in a crisis in this country right now as it relates to mental health. Even the former First Lady just said a few weeks ago that she was suffering from low-grade depression, and the CDC data reports that over 40% of African Americans are reporting clinical diagnosable conditions. So I believe that this is an urgent call. Our company has always sort of been anchored in this work, and now is the moment that we scale and expand our services. So I'll drop my information and I invite conversations offline. Thank you all. And I apologize about my dog.
Don't worry about it at all, Kevin. Thanks so much for the important work that you're doing and for your bravery and channeling your lived experience into a great product. We greatly appreciate it. Next up, we have Anthony Hill, the founder of Adaptix, an AI automation company that is changing the way that enterprises and large industrial firms innovate, automate, and gain valuable insights. He's doing this by providing artificial intelligence and machine learning applications using edge computing and cloud computing. Please welcome Anthony Hill. Anthony, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes,
great,
sir.
Great. Okay, as you said, my name is Anthony Hill. I'm founder and CEO of Adaptix Corporation. Adaptix sells artificial intelligence and machine learning software to large industrial firms. We enable these firms to integrate complex data across distributed sources. This provides valuable insights to reduce costs, help them improve equipment uptime, and increase remote worker productivity. Our patented technology seamlessly integrates with any system, giving ops managers unprecedented ability to make better decisions faster. Today, this is about a $100 billion market. So far, we've deployed our technology across 100 systems at leading industrial firms. In fact, we're excited that we include the largest semiconductor company in the world as a customer and the largest network equipment company as a customer. Our platform differentiation is, as the gentleman just said, we allow you to do all of your AI modeling at the edge, which saves a lot of transfer costs back to the cloud. We provide ultra low latency, and our data mesh technology allows companies to scale AI and machine learning models across the enterprise. In one of our installations with one of our customers, we've deployed over 400 models that we support every day. We've grown the data ingestion over 500% in just 6 months. We had an ARR in 2019 of 1.2 million. We expect to grow that to over $3 million at the end of 2020. The company is led by myself. I recently, in my most recent corporate position, I led a $1 billion business, application business for Nokia Siemens. Prior to that, I ran a $5 billion software business for HP Enterprise Services. I'm joined with colleagues of mine over the last 10 years. Combined, we have industrial and enterprise experience of over 20 years, over 100 years. Sorry about that. We are currently raising a Series A round. We have a term sheet on the table for $3 million. We have insiders contributing about another $1 million. We're looking for an additional $1 to $2 million to close that round. I'd also like to take 1 minute to certainly provide kudos to the Morgan Stanley Cultural Innovation Lab, which we are currently a cohort. It's an excellent organization. Alice and her team are excellent and have helped us tremendously to get to the point where we can raise capital. And you're not too late to join that if you've gone beyond just the seed stage. And certainly seed stage is recommended. Anyway, that is Adaptix Corporation. Thank you very much for having me. We can't hear you.
All right, Randy, you're still muted.
Thanks so much, Anthony. It is great to see an African American who is really leading on the edge, leading edge of technology like AI, machine learning, and edge computing. So thank you for your work and really the power that you're engaging in right now. Next up, we have Erica Plebia, the CEO and founder of MedHall, the end-to-end platform that makes it easy for healthcare providers to find and book safe, reliable transportation for people with special needs. In less than 2 years, MedHall facilitated over 7,000 rides on their platform and has saved their largest customer $2 million within their first year. Pretty impressive stuff. Please welcome Erica Plebia.
Thank you, Randy. I'm glad to be here. I'm Erica, founder of MedHall. We're based in Memphis, Tennessee. We believe that everyone deserves safe, efficient, and reliable transportation. Prior to MedHall, I spent 7 years in clinical and research informatics, building and deploying clinical software solutions for some of the biggest names in healthcare like Epic, Cerner, Google Ventures-backed Flatiron Health, and most recently St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So imagine my frustration and surprise when I couldn't help my mother find a ride for my grandmother, who was a type 2 diabetic double leg amputee. We called around, we did numerous Google searches, and they were all fails. I initially thought this was just a problem for us in our small hometown of Greenwood, Mississippi, but later learned that this was a problem for over 50 million people across the country. There just isn't really an easy way to find and book special needs transportation. So we decided to build MedHall, which is a technology-enabled marketplace that makes it easy to find and book high-quality special need rides for patients, and we're actually starting in healthcare, primarily due to the billions of dollars lost in healthcare due to missed appointments and unnecessary emergency room visits. As Randy mentioned, in less than 2 years, we've secured 3 enterprise customers, facilitated over 7,000 rides on our platform, saved our largest customer almost $2 billion. We're streamlining an $80 billion market. The medical transportation industry is a very dated industry. We're connecting healthcare providers directly with transportation partners who are already trained in providing complex transport, such as wheelchair, stretcher, isolation, and assisting patients with door-through-door needs. We're a multi-sided marketplace, so offering lower cost and efficiency for our healthcare providers, reliable, safe transportation for patients, but then also providing consistent revenue traffic and fair rates for local transportation providers. We've seen historically that these special needs transportation partners have been really taken advantage of, so we really want to be a company that empowers these small businesses as well. As far as our technology is concerned, we're a web-based platform In a few simple clicks, our users, which are typically nursing staff or clinical social workers, can book rides for any patient regardless of their need to have a wheelchair or stretcher. We also capture additional nuances, like if the patient owns their own wheelchair or if they'll need one, if they have stairs in and outside of their homes, which also helps connect them to the most appropriate transportation partner. We use machine learning on the back end to help us constantly learn and improve our ride matching. And through that, we also provide reporting and insights for our customers and our transportation partners. We're different from our current competitors because of our unique vetting process of our transportation providers, our B2B subscription business model, and the wide variety of accessibility options that are offered on our platform. We're honored that we've been backed by Morgan Stanley and also healthcare VC Innova Memphis. We were also recently just selected for Google's inaugural Tech Accelerator for Black Founders out of 938 companies. We're starting in healthcare, but the greater vision is to become the go-to platform for innovative special needs transportation. I'd love any intros to health systems, oncology, and dialysis groups to help us fuel our growth. Ultimately, I started MedHall because I wanted a solution for my grandmother, but now I'm driven to scale our impact to the 50 million families across the country who need our help. So thank you for your time today. Please feel free to reach out to learn more about our team, our vision, and our path for growth. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Erica. Congratulations on all of your success thus far. And as I've learned, it's always important to listen to Nana. So thank you for building your company based on your experience with your grandmother. Really awesome. Next up, we have Alex Villanueva, the founder of Eclo, the world's first online platform for custom-made footwear. Alex holds a PhD in mechanical engineering from Virginia Tech. And for his dissertation, Alex developed biometric jellyfish robots for the Navy. That's a different level, y'all. He has 19 publications in peer-reviewed journals, and his robots were featured in news outlets such as CNN, Discovery Channel, and Popular Mechanics. Alex also has a background in aerospace engineering, where he's worked for NASA, Orbital Sciences, and Honeywell. Please welcome Alex Villanueva.
Thank you. All right, so no more jellyfish, no more aerospace. Now I'm working on shoes, so here we go. Eclo helps online shoppers order shoes that fit. If you ever shopped online for shoes, you're probably familiar with how difficult it is to know your size without trying on your shoes. Most of us have been there. Some of you might even have thought, there's got to be an easy solution to this. Well, now there is. Simply download our app, scan your feet, and get a size recommendation. It's that simple. Online shoe sales have grown to over 30% of the market in the last 10, 20 years. With COVID, it's currently closer to 60%. A lot of people buying their shoes online. During this rise in online sales, however, online retailers have trained their shoppers to return their shoes. We've all heard of free returns, free shipping. The problem with that is currently 1 in 3 pairs of shoes bought online is actually returned. This leaves $3 billion in losses due to return expenses every year. Now, returns is a waste of money for retailers. It's a waste of time for shoppers. And it's also wasteful for the environment. It's a polluting process that can easily be avoided. So at Eclo, we aim to reduce returns by 75%. We also aim to increase conversion by almost twice as much. Now, this is a big problem. It's got a simple solution, but the technology behind it is actually very advanced, it's very complex. We received $1.2 million in SBIR grants from the National Science Foundation, all non-dilutive funding. This funded our 5 years of R&D, in which time we actually developed a lot of IP. And recently, actually about a month ago, we received our first patent. So I'm pretty excited about that. Now, we're currently working with 8 different companies that make custom shoes. So shoes made specifically for a person's feet. Those tend to be a lot more expensive, but we're solving a problem that they really need. We're looking to expand our technology to regular shoes. So shoes with sizes and help the mass population. So we're currently raising $250,000 to help us gather the data that we need from users trying on shoes and so on. Refine our product, expand our patent portfolio, and ultimately grow our commercialization efforts. So if you're interested, please reach out. Also, I'm looking for mentors, especially in business. And yeah, look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Alex. Really appreciate it. Really excited for what you're going to do. Next up, we have Elijah Sharp of SmartDX. SmartDX is a biotech-focused platform that develops and distributes platform diagnostics to accelerate advancements in the direction, interpretation, and prevention of disease. Please welcome Elijah Sharp.
Awesome. Thank you. Sorry about those tech difficulties earlier, and thanks for allowing me to follow up on the back end. So diagnostics, what we know about diagnostics today is that it's the primary tool we rely on to detect and diagnose disease. And we use the diagnosis to determine the most effective reaction or treatment to the disease. And it sounds good, right? But the reality is our current diagnostics are actually failing us. I think this is apparent through things like the COVID-19 pandemic, et cetera. But this is our reality is that diagnostics are failing us. The problem with current diagnostic technologies like PCR and other methods is that diagnostics have limited capabilities and lack next generation performance and features. Existing diagnostics require extensive turnaround time for results, experience error and inaccuracies, are challenged in achieving early detection of disease. They are cumbersome and are limited to being used in laboratories for centralized testing. Use of the diagnostic is complex, manually intensive, and requires prerequisite education. And diagnostics are expensive, which makes testing unavailable to many who lack the appropriate resources and infrastructure. At Smart Diagnostics, our overarching mission is to enable sophisticated diagnostic testing to be decentralized. We believe being able to distribute advanced diagnostics that can be used anywhere by anyone while improving diagnostic capabilities would allow diagnostics to enable the power of knowing and prevent rather than react to disease. Smart Diagnostics has developed a patented diagnostic platform called Alden. Alden consists of nanobiological sensors, also referred to as a reagent, a miniaturized and autonomous Internet of Things diagnostic, and information technology integrations. So cloud, algorithmic models, deep learning, and software as a service. The diagnostic platform currently advances diagnostic testing capabilities compared to existing methods by reducing costs by 82% while maintaining 87% profit margins, reducing total testing time by 80%, eliminating biological false positive and false negative testing results, increasing early detection limits by 90%, improving ease of use through automation and reduces training time by 95%, reduces infrastructure costs and requirements by 85%, enables decentralized on-site testing, and introduces modern information technology capabilities to the platform. The immediate applications of focus for Alden is one, the $10.7 billion market for foodborne pathogen testing in the agricultural supply chain. Alden has successfully completed industry pilots and is moving forward to full-scale implementation within the food supply chain to prevent pathogen recalls and outbreaks, optimize on-site diagnostic integration into facility logistics, and simplifying the quality and regulatory practices and compliance for the industry. Our second immediate application is the Alden platform for pandemic response that has been validated through third-party laboratory testing for COVID-19. The Alden platform will be the first to offer a comprehensive pandemic approach that will enable real-time monitoring, tracing, and surveillance of COVID-19 in the environment, so air, surfaces, wastewater. And we will use this data to achieve targeted and efficient clinical testing, as well as on-demand clinical testing. The platform will be commercialized through licensing or capital investment for internal infrastructure expansion for COVID-19. Smart Diagnostics has previously been through Techstars. We've raised $3.5 million in non-dilutive capital from the United States Department of Agriculture, National Science Foundation, and Department of Defense. And last year closed a seed round of $1.5 million to develop and validate the commercial diagnostic platform, Alden, for production and establish the resources and partnerships required to de-risk and enable scale. We successfully achieved these milestones and are currently raising our next financing round focused on scaled production and commercial implementation, with current commitments for the round at $6 million. We're interested in exploring further investment opportunities with investors that have domain experience and can add strategic value. So if you believe there are any synergies or you'd like to learn more about our mission at Smart Diagnostics, please reach out, and I look forward to the discussion. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Elijah. If there was ever a time for Smart DX and Alden, it's right now. So thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you to all the entrepreneurs for your pitches today. As members of the Black community, we are grateful for you. We couldn't be prouder of you. We are relying on you to continue to clear the way for opportunities for diverse entrepreneurs coming behind you. So we thank you for your bravery, and we want to support you any way that we know how. So thank you all for your pitches today. We look forward to hearing about the deals and partnerships that you will make, and of course, following your success. And now to Denmark for final remarks.
I'd like to thank our sponsor, Walmart, and in particular, Tony Waller, for making today's event possible. Thank you for your partnership. Next, I'd like to thank Ken Coleman and Ben Horowitz for the incredible Fireside Chat, and for all that you do for diversity and inclusion in technology in general, and specifically Silicon Valley. I want to give a shout out to Randy Wiggins and Terrell Sterling for helping to curate and produce this important event. And finally, to our Culture Shifting Weekend title sponsor, Morgan Stanley. Thank you for sharing our vision for a more diverse and inclusive world, and for supporting this entire weekend. For all of you, please be sure to visit cultureshiftlabs.com and check out the work we do all year long, not just during Culture Shifting Weekends. Thank you all for participating and making the time.
Thank you, everyone. This concludes our event. We are so excited for you to have taken place. Wish you to continue connecting post this event and continue to keep us updated as you continue to connect and make deals happen.